Hello, friends. Welcome. Another episode, Fragrance Chat. Okay, so this is like actually a second impression video. Okay, of this one, Roger and Gillette. It's a house that is not famous, but I think it's a more of an older house. Okay, and older house. I have this one is the open EDT. I have this one. I opened it. I bought it way back then during the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. And then I started buying a lot of the older fragrance. And then I bought three of them. I bought the Open Gold, and Open Black. And you can tell I haven't opened either of this. And I opened this and tried it only once. Okay, so that's why I'm calling this a second impression. I tried it once. I totally forgot about it. I just remember it's more of an old school, old style. And I recall this one was, back in the 80s. I don't know exactly what year, the 80s, but it smelled totally like the 80s. You could tell. There's something about it. I don't know if it's still is called the classification of Fougere or those type of manly type of scent where it's very distinct. Where the 80s ladies and men's fragrance are very easily to tell apart. I don't know if there's actually any unisex during the 80s, any unisex fragrance during the 80s. So without further ado, here's a quick second impression of this one. Tell you what I smell on the first, second impression. There you go. Okay. Yeah, the sprayer is the very cheapy, basic kind of plastic, but it blasts off a lot. Okay, then one more time. Okay, it's very big blast, so you get your money's worth per blast. Okay, so yeah, right away it's projecting. I don't anybody that smell it will say, okay, oak moss, oak moss, oak moss, oak moss. Um, so there's some citrus, either it's lemon or bergamot, and like all the 80s fragrance, it seems like there was always lavender in the older style of lavender. Yeah, the lavender eternity. To me, that's more of a modern take lavender, and there's the older type lavender where you have Aramis have some lavender. That's the older style, and you have the the older 80s houses. Okay, so I smell this one. There's some tobacco. I'm surprised, but okay, tobacco. Whenever you have a good tobacco in a fragrance, it automatically make it more of a, I guess, not a cheapy, because for cheapy is typically more of a generic or where people that's for beginners. But for tobacco, it's harder for people to accept. So to me, whenever I smell a decent tobacco, right away that put it into a little bit higher level than the typical cheaper generic blue freshy fragrance. This is definitely not those. This is more of a, I'm not okay. It's not an old man, but I would say, let's say 30 and up. Okay, 30 and up. I smell some vetiver for sure, and some tobacco, and the lavender, and some sort of floral. I'm not sure what type of floral it is. I want to say sage, because I have sage in my front yard, and I whenever I walk by, I smell something like this. And then the food that we cook, I don't know if it's, yeah, I would just say I can smell sage. Okay. Now, as far as what this is remind me, I have I just reviewed Giacomo. Okay, and there's some there's some notes in here that's in common. So like the oak moss type, the older school style, but this is a little bit different because this one is more floral. I can smell the floral in this, while Giacomo less. Okay, and so I would say this is closer to probably at the Aramis Havana. I think it's closer to that. And then if you know about Corum, there's some, because the oak moss is also in Corum. So this that is kind of reminding me of that. But it's not the clone. It's not exactly like it. Okay, so it's a different mixture of it. And maybe a little bit of the because it's similar to Giacomo, and Giacomo is similar to Polo Green. So there you could say, okay, I can smell some resemblance, but the closest one I can smell is from Hermes Havana. Maybe, yeah, I think because it's a little bit of a freshy tobacco oak moss combination that makes it more similar. Okay, so that's a quick take. I will give this maybe a 7.5. It's a good scent. You know what? If you like the 80 cent, this is up there. This is up there. It's a cheapie. I bought it for under $20, I think. That's why I bought all three in the collection. Not collection. Oh, yeah, collection. The open collection. Okay. So next time I'll try the other two, but I want to get at least this one started. Okay. So I would say 30 and up for the age. It's good for the maybe not high heat for sure. Okay. The anything with oak moss, you don't want to put in high heat. Okay, so this is for more of a middle to colder type of weather. Maybe it's not. Maybe spring is good if it's a nice, cool spring. I think it'd be a surprise. It'd be a good surprise. All right, so this is I would say for me it's a hidden gem because I like the 80s scents, like the Draco Noir, like the Polo Green. I actually really enjoy those. So I was on a binge buying a lot of those fragrances. So which I haven't reviewed yet, but I will do so. All right, there you go. Roger and Gillette Open is a goodie.